What is going on, traders? We got a few things to discuss, but before we get into that, like, subscribe, comment your thoughts below. Let's get into the video. So, in my last video, which was like 2 days ago, I pretty much let you guys know that Tuesday I was expecting consolidation and maybe a cool down period, and we got that. But not only did we get that on Tuesday, but we got it today as well. So, yeah, pretty boring week so far, right? But what are my expectations heading into tomorrow? Well, it's just like the thumbnail says. I think we could be looking at a potential dump and pump scenario. So first I'm going to explain the dump part and then I'm going to explain the pump part. Pause. So when we're looking at the ES, as you guys can see, I have this bear flag drawn out here. We're pretty much consolidating at the top of this bear flag. And what I tell you guys about patterns is that when we roll over in a pattern where we just don't break out right away, we just start to somewhat break out and then roll over back into the pattern, there's potential for more downside here. And this is pretty much the dump scenario that we could be looking at here, where we're looking at a move towards about 50, I would say 51, not 50, yeah, 5150, 5180 range, where we can be going as low as here, maybe bounce off here to create more room for upside towards at least 5250. And the reason why I'm saying that we could just bounce off here versus us just playing this bear flag out right away is because the NASDAQ still has more room to the upside. When we're looking at the NASDAQ, what happened today? We bounced off, we pretty much went to 18,070 and we bounced off this level. And to show you guys just how important this level is, here we bounced here, bounced here, and even when we broke below it, we tried to get back above it. We rejected multiple times, rejected here as well. So this is a very key level here between 18,070 and 18,000, 17,990, give or take. But hopefully we're catching on to what I'm saying here, right? When we're looking at the NASDAQ still has more room to the upside. But when we're looking at the ES doesn't really have room to the upside. So what needs to happen? Well, more space needs to be created for the ES in order for it to move to the upside. Now, that's not guaranteed or anything. I mean, we could just continue to go up from here. News comes in tomorrow, we go up, whatever the case may be. But I'm thinking more so that this scenario is going to play out where we dump, creating more space for the ES to go higher, and then that will allow the Nasdaq to pretty much fill this void that's all the way up here between 18,500, 18,700, which was our recent all-time highs on the Nasdaq. So something to pay attention to. Hopefully that made sense. And again, very key level here. All right, very key level. If we start breaking below 17,990, I will I will really be cautious if I was a bull. I will be really cautious there. Okay, so very key level to look out for as far as the Nasdaq. As far as the ES goes, again, very key level around 5150. As you guys can see, we bounced here, bounced here, bounced here. We broke through, we rejected here, and we broke back through again. So this is a very key level around 5150, 5140, I would say, to be really safe. Okay. So something to really look out for. Now, this scenario doesn't have to play out. I'm not some future teller or anything like that. We can just maybe continue to break down tomorrow. Maybe the news just comes in so bad that the market just breaks completely down. That is a possibility. And if you don't know, tomorrow morning we have unemployment claims at around 8:30 Eastern, and then we have the 30-year bond, and then we have FOMC member daily speaking at around 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern. So something to pay attention to as far as news tomorrow. But again, this is pretty much me explaining the dump scenario where we drop in the morning, creating more space for not only the NASDAQ, but the ES as well. And then maybe sometime in the afternoon, maybe, I don't know, the FOMC member pumps the market or the 30-year bond pumps the market, whatever the case may be. So, something to really pay attention to here. Now, another reason why I think we could be looking at a dump scenario in the morning is looking at the VIX. As you guys can see, so if we zoom back on the VIX, as you guys can see, we're at a very key level here. We bounced here, bounced here, bounced here. We've bounced a few more times. I just didn't mark them, but you guys pretty much should get the idea, right? And right now, we filled the gap at 13. We finally filled this gap. This gap's been open for like months, right? So where can we go from here as far as the VIX? Well, we can go much lower on the VIX, and if you don't know, the market moves inverse of the VIX. We can go lower. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. We can go lower, and our key support here is around 12.6, 12.4. Okay, so we could go lower maybe tomorrow morning or whatever. Or we just fill this gap, which we've already done. And I tell you guys all the time, gaps have very, very strong support and resistance depending on the direction of the market or the direction of whatever you're trading. So gaps have very strong support and resistance, and we can just bounce from here as far as the VIX go. And right now, my target on the VIX is about 16. We could be looking at a move as high as 16 on the VIX. That would be a very significant move, and the market would dump or drop significantly if we do get that move towards 16. So something to look out for as far as the VIX. Now, this isn't a bear flag for anyone that's watching. This is just a channel here that we've been trading in. So something to really look out for. We start breaking out of here, we can start heading towards 16. So something to look out for as far as the VIX go. We look at the SQs. Again, another thing that moves inverse of the market. So if the market goes up, this goes down and vice versa. But as you guys can see, I don't make this stuff up. We've been bouncing off. Well, we've been rejecting this trend consistently on the SQs right here. Rejected, rejected, reject, reject. We've been rejecting over. We finally broke above it, and now we're back at that area. Okay, we're right back at that area. So something to pay attention to here as well. So the VIX and the SQs both move inverse of the market, right? So we're looking at the same things across the board here, where the ES. We go back to the ES, where the ES has potential to drop from here because we're at the top of this bear flag and we've been consolidating and we even broke back below. Let me actually get rid of this so you guys can actually see. But we broke back below this bear flag, which leads to potential for some more downside in the morning. And then we look at the SQs. We're pretty much at this trend where we're consistently rejected in the past over and over, and right now we're just pretty much hugging it, and it's pretty more, and it shows that there's potential for upside at least for the SQs, which will cause the market to drop. And the same thing for the VIX. VIX is at a key area as well at around 13. We filled that gap at 13, which is a very strong support level. Granted, we can go lower here on the VIX around 12.6, 12.4, but I think pretty soon we're going to be looking at the market dropping. Now, how big of a drop? Well, we'll get into that when we look at the SPY. When we're looking at the SPY, pretty much the same thing we've been seeing on the ES. I mean, we don't have much more room as far as the upside. And I told you guys in the last video that 518 is your key level here. And we pretty much hit it right on the dot here. But again, we don't have much room as far as the SPY goes. So your key levels to the downside on the SPY is about 513, 512.5. And then you're looking at a 511.5. But really, key level you want to pay attention to is 508 here. 508, okay? You break below 508 and you're a bull, you might want to run for the hills. Okay. You might want to run for the hills if you're bullish on the market. But again, 518. As you guys can see, we've continued to fail to get above 518. I would say 518.5 to be really safe. And I think at some point we're either going to start heading towards 513, maybe retest that area, or we can head as low as 508, 509 on the SPY. So key levels to really pay attention to. All right. But again, just like I said on the ES, we don't have much more room here. So I think at some point we may have to create that room. Okay, we may have to create that room. We can go to 513, 512.5, or we can head as low as 508, 509. All right, I honestly wouldn't even be surprised we had lower than that if that did happen. Okay, so something to pay attention to as far as the SPY. Those are your key levels as far as the SPY goes. Triple Qs. Now, triple Qs is showing me a different story than the Nasdaq. All right, so that's why I'm leaning more so on the dump scenario first happening, because when we're looking across the board, everything is pointing towards a potential dump happening before we even consider a pump. Okay, again, all patterns aren't 100%, but 1 plus 1 equals 2, guys. I mean, come on. Everything is pointing towards downside, at least short term. So, what are we looking at as far as the triple Qs? And again, I don't make this up. As you guys can see, we've rejected here, rejected here, rejected here. So, very key trend. And now we're rejecting once again right here. Okay, we're rejecting once again. So where can we go from here? So right now I'm looking at a move towards 435, 436 range. And reason being, as you guys can see, reject, reject, or bounce, 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 reject, reject, broke through, So very key area here between 435 and 433. You break below 433 and you're bullish, you might want to run for the hills. Very key level that I'm looking at for a potential dump scenario heading into tomorrow. So be on the lookout for this. If we do get bad news, I will really pay attention to this area. I would definitely pay attention to around 433. We'll say 433 for 432.5 to be safe. So really pay attention to the cues here. Again, the Nasdaq is showing me something different, but everything else is pointing towards a dump scenario. Okay, where we're looking to drop. Okay, so the Nasdaq is like the only thing that just really has space. And again, I don't make this stuff up. Granted, I didn't mark it out, but I mean, we do have space on the Nasdaq. It's just everything else doesn't. Okay, so that's why I'm looking at a potential dump scenario to create that space, and then we could be looking at a pump scenario. The pump scenarios not so much guaranteed, but I do feel confident at least about the dumping part. All right, I think I've said dump like at least 50 times in this video, so I probably should stop. We're looking at Nvidia. I believe ARMS had bad earnings or whatever the case may be, and it kind of affected Nvidia. Nothing too crazy, but I pointed this out in the Discord. There is a descending triangle on Nvidia, and your key level here is around 890. It seems to really want to hold 890, so pay attention to that on Nvidia. If we break below 890, we can be heading as low as about 870, 865 range. So really pay attention to that. All right, now. Um, you can call this a bear flag or whatever the case may be. I'm more so leaning at this being just a channel. I'm not a fan of this flag because we originally broke out of it and then broke back below it. So it's really tough to call. So, you can ignore it altogether in reality. But I think it's somewhat significant that we're continuously trading within this range. And right now, we're forming a descending triangle. So something to look out for heading into tomorrow. This is why I keep saying that I think the dump scenario is more likely than the pump scenario. Okay, but the pump scenario is still on the table. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna completely take it off the table just yet. But you will be the first to know when I do, or maybe Discord members will. But you get the idea, right? But yeah, that's Nvidia. That's really all I have as far as Nvidia. We're forming a descending triangle. We break above 924, then this thing is going to head back towards 950, 946, give or take, and then we can look at a move towards all-time highs again, okay, or recent all-time highs. So something to look out for as far as Nvidia and Bitcoin. I keep saying it. I think Bitcoin is just going to continue to drop. I think it can still head towards 52K. It kind of had me going for a bit. We took a trade in the Discord on Bitcoin and we took profit. But yeah, I mean, we took a sell trade on Bitcoin, so I actually trade what I'm talking about on my videos. I just don't say things and not trade them. So yeah, I still think Bitcoin has potential to head towards 52K. 57K was my first target. 54K is my next target, and then we can probably head as low as 52K. Right now, I just think the market is trying to psych everybody out and just scare everybody out of their positions. I genuinely believe this is annoying. I get it, very annoying market, but yeah, I just think it's just trying to psych people out of their positions because social media is growing. Everybody keeps calling out targets on social media, and I think these banks and these institutions pay attention to this stuff. Where everybody's like, Bitcoin to 100K or this SPY to this target, and then institutions see that and they start playing people out of their positions. Even it's been happening to me, so it happens, right? So that's my thoughts on Bitcoin. If we can get back above 65K, I mean 65K, 66K, then I might lean towards bullish, but still bearish on this thing. You guys know that I've been bearish on this thing for a while. After it hit about 75K, 74K, I was pretty much like, yeah, this thing's pretty much done. It broke back below this weekly supply and demand zone at around 68K, and I was just like, yeah, this thing's pretty much going to be cooked for a while. So that's all I really have for Bitcoin. Other than that, that's all I have for the video, guys. Hopefully, you got something out of it. If you agree or disagree, feel free to comment your thoughts below. And again, thank you for the support that I've been getting lately. It's been absolutely crazy. Um, if I don't make videos, if you're new to the channel and if you don't see me put out a video, it's because nothing happened that day. I didn't make a video Tuesday because nothing happened. I wasn't gonna make one today, but I don't want to go too many days without making videos. To help you guys out within the market, and not only that, but help myself be persistent in YouTube. But other than that, Discord link is in the description below. And until the next time, have a good one, traders.